You know the routine. If you'll just state your names for the record, and you can go in any order that you're comfortable with. And again, thank you for being here today.
Vance Day.
Brian Oreo.
Gary Cohen.
Chairman Matthews, honored committee members. My name is Vance Day. I have the honor of serving as the people of Oregon as a circuit court judge in the 3rd Judicial District. That's Marion County. I appear before you in support of House Concurrent Resolution 24. I'm the presiding judge over what's become known as the Marion County Veterans Treatment Docket. We call it a docket because we're all volunteers. We do it within our existing budgets. We don't use any other funds, and we've cobbled together an association from Marion County Health, Sheriff's Department, a variety of other organizations, including the Oregon Army National Guard, as well as the Veterans Administration. And we stay within budget constraints because we don't have any extra money. When we do, hopefully, when funding is appropriated at some point in time in the future, we'll begin calling it a court. Beside me is Deputy District Attorney Brian Oreo, who volunteers as the Deputy District Attorney to work within our court. And on my other side is Gary Cohen, who's a 24-year Air Force veteran, and he's our court coordinator. The House resolution is pretty straightforward. We urge its passage, but let me just give you briefly just one point of savings. We did a quick calculation on the 12 folks that we serve, veterans who were involved or brought into the criminal justice system for nonviolent crimes, and looked at just 3 of them, the first 3 that we brought in, to see what the savings was to the county as well as the state. And just the treatment that they received through the Veterans Administration was over $45,000 in a 3-month period. And you take that and you times that, and multiply it by the number of veterans that are out there who suffer from PTSD, traumatic brain injury, alcoholism, or some type of service-connected problem, who get swept into the criminal justice system. And the bottom line is, these type of courts work, these type of courts save money, and these type of courts dispense compassion. Sun Tzu was an ancient Chinese military general, strategist, and philosopher. I know many of us in politics, of course I'm formally involved in politics, but are familiar with him. He employed his commanders to, as follows: regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you unto the deepest valleys. Look on them as your beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. The veterans of our military service have put their lives on the line, and we may have the freedoms that we enjoy. And they have dedicated their lives to our country, and they deserve our commitment and our recognition at the deepest levels. So we urge passage. Mr. Oreo?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Brian Oreo. I'm a Deputy District Attorney here in Marion County. I volunteered on this project to create a Veterans Treatment Docket here in Marion County. In the course of the last 18 months, I've not only seen how the Veterans Treatment Docket does honor those who have honored us by serving this country, how it does save money by accessing treatment resources that are not available through Marion County probation and parole. But I think even more importantly is that it promotes community safety by reducing recidivism. The efforts that we've made in some of these cases have shown clearly the difference between a traditional path into the prison system or the probation system with young men and women who are at high risk. I can think of one young gentleman in particular who served this country valiantly in the Middle East, suffered some serious physical injuries, became opiate addicted, and was ultimately arrested for 3 delivery of heroin within 1,000 feet of a school. The traditional path of that prosecution would ordinarily be prison. This young man was suffering from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, opiate addiction, and I can only imagine what would have happened to him had I pursued a traditional path of incarceration in the prison system. Instead, we endeavored to refer him to psychiatric and treatment through the VA administration that is not available through Marion County probation and parole. Certainly not the specialization nor the the resources. And as I sit here today, that young man is clean, sober, law-abiding member of the community, getting straight A's at a local community college, and it is nothing short of miraculous what has happened in his life, and absolutely nightmarish to think about what would have happened had he gone to prison. That being said, I am a deputy district attorney. I am very, very much committed to public safety when incarceration demands that, but I think by balancing the treatment needs of these young men and women with the resources available through the Veterans Administration, we can actually promote public safety by pursuing a veterans treatment docket in their cases. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sir?
Hi, I'm Gary Cohen. I became involved in the docket before it was a docket. We had an individual in the jail, a young man, and he was incarcerated for domestic violence charge. We got to hear his story. He was a combat medic in Iraq. I don't know if, I can't even imagine, he told me stories, if you can put your head in his place. But he saw and heard and smelled things that none of us I hope will ever have to encounter in our lives. He was having a very difficult time. As far as he was concerned at the time of this incident, the Iraqis were coming through the windows in his home. He was trying to protect his wife and his children. He got out a gun. He never threatened his family, but his wife was scared and concerned, called law enforcement, and this is where we ended up. Didn't know quite what to do at the time, and I was fortunate enough at that time to partner with Alon Lampert, who at the time was an Oregon Partners in Crisis.
Partnership for Veterans at Risk.
Okay. And we partnered up with Judge Ochoa and managed to talk this thing through. The gentleman got out of jail. He's finishing school right now. He's quite successful. He's gone to other veterans groups to help them out, and him serving any time would have been no value to anyone. In a general sense, things have, in my take on things have improved as far as the outlook on the military and the civilian community in our country. We don't spit on people anymore because they're on uniform. We do say thank you for your service. In my eyes, that's wonderful, but it's kind of like a BS line at a beauty contest. We need to start showing these people that they did the job, they met the call, and this is one of many things that needs, one element of many things that needs to happen to make it right. They did it for us, we need to do it for them. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all. And nice to see our judges and Deputy DA shoulder to shoulder on the issue, and thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate that. If you don't mind, Judge, you have time for questions just real quick? If we can.
You bet.
Are there questions from the panel? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Judge Day, it's wonderful seeing you. Thanks for coming in, and particularly on this topic. Can you tell me, because we've dealt with this in past sessions, and you know how it is, you pass a bill and people go off and write rules and take care of it, and I know we've had testimony in the past. How extensive is this being done throughout Oregon, or was it predominantly a Marion County pilot program that we did?
The first court was started in Klamath County, and it is fully functioning. It's a small court because of the amount of folks in that area. The population doesn't justify a full-time court. Marion County is the first large county to try this, and so currently we have a docket between 12 and 15 veterans. We've applied for federal grant funds. If we receive the funds, we'll expand that court up to 60 individuals. We'll meet weekly, and it will be quite large, and that will be kind of the test pilot. Right now, there aren't any state funds that are available, so that's why we're operating within the docket system rather than the court system. The unique thing about a veterans treatment docket is that it adds not only the time-honored and trusted and surefire way of dealing with people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol or have PTSD, that's the drug court model, but we add a mentor to that. And that is one of the things that this resolution does, is it encourages folks to join our courts and become mentors. So what we hope to do with this is to kind of shop it around after it's passed, hopefully, and go throughout the state, encourage other judges and other counties to do this same program. I'll volunteer my time. I know Mr. Oreo and others will do the same to help train other folks so we can start these programs. And by the time the legislature, we're in a better economy, we can fund them, we'll have the pilot programs already there and they'll be up and running. That's our hope.
Great,
Did
thanks.
that answer your question, Representative?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is a good model. We find it very helpful in my district for drug courts and family courts, and I've just been really impressed. I followed one court, well, it was a drug court, one of the first ones, on through their graduation, and keep up with the judges and see how things are going, because we meet with our judges regularly. But this is kind of like, reminds me of the relief nurseries in the children's sector. So I think I would be very happy to support this, and I hope you can put one in Clatsop and Tillamook too.
We'll work on that.
Yes.
I think you have answered my question in your last comments, because when I was reading through this before the hearing, I thought, this sounds like a great idea. Why are we just doing a resolution and not, drafting something that, directs courts to set this up or sets up a pilot program? But it sounds like this is kind of a first step in maybe what will be ultimately, Klamath and Marion are successful in kind of creating a model. So this is kind of just getting it on the map as a recognition. Is that kind of the reason that we went with kind of a resolution as opposed to something that actually has a little bit of teeth?
That's correct, Representative Fagan. And I think if I was taking the official line, we'd like you to fully fund the courts first and
Right.
then get the Veterans Court. So that's all I need.
Duly noted.
Any further questions from the panel? I just want to say thank you, and to anybody out there who might be listening, we have a huge viewing audience that follows us. But whenever you try to tackle these issues, from our position, folks want to jump to the conclusion we're trying to be soft on crime, we're trying to give somebody a pass. That's not the situation at all. What we're trying to do is create some sideboards in the discretion model that says we're going to recognize that there's some other influences on these individuals that might be the driving figure for the recidivism of our veterans. And I just want to applaud your effort and just say thank you. And I look forward to continued success in this sprawling throughout the state. And I hope Multnomah County, and I believe Multnomah County is reviewing this now.
They are.
And I'd love to see that happen in the new courthouse that's right there in Rockwood in my district. So we're hoping to do that. But again, thanks for taking the time today. I know you're busy. I know you all are. And it's very meaningful. So thank you so much for your testimony today.
Thank you, Mr.
Our
Chairman.
intent is to move this quickly. Thank you.